Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. Okay, this video is going to be on the three-man militia, but what I'm trying to do is tie it all together. At this point, you should have three-man militias already formed. You're going to have three-man militia in gardening. You're going to have three-man militias in first aid. You're going to have three-man militias in communications. You're going to have three-man militias in all different types of stuff. Drone technology, and you'll be able to do drones and stuff like that. No telling what you're going to have these three-man militias in. But, and they're all in your community. They are all to benefit your family and your friends and your local community. That is exactly what you're already set up for. Okay, now, you've already introduced yourself to your sheriff. Your sheriff knows that you represent a militia in chemicals or radiation or no telling what. You've already organized your three-man militia. You've went to your sheriff and you've offered your skills and services in case there's a crisis or emergency. Your sheriff knows he can count on you for support. So you've already done that. So in other words, you've listened to me well, and you've got this stuff together. Now, a crisis does happen. Now let's say this crisis is much more massive than what you as a three-man militia, what your sheriff, much more than what your sheriff could handle. This crisis is something that doesn't come around too often. Matter of fact, it never comes around. This is something that people just cannot plan on. You cannot prepare and do what you need to do for this overwhelming crisis. And now let's say this crisis is something as overwhelming as a force, an overwhelming force coming into your local community. Let's just use Jade Helm as an example. This force comes into your community, and your three-man militias pull themselves together, and they're already organized. They know who each other is. They know all this stuff. They know they can count on each other. The three. Each three knows they can count on each other. But now we're in a situation where these three individuals have got to work with these three individuals. They have to. There's no choice. Okay. But you look around. The odds are overwhelming. There's nothing you can possibly do. How would you possibly handle a situation that is so breathtaking? Well, the first thing is you're organized. So there's no reason to panic. But you are only capable of doing so much. Wait a minute. What is this? Another 3-man militia comes in. And this 3-man militia came from the neighboring town. Maybe 2 or 3 counties over. Maybe even the next state. Or in my case, what if I come in from out of the country? In other words, other 3-man militias can come join your 3-man militia. Now, my 3-man militia, I've got different 3-man militias that I'm in. One of them is organizing and public relations. So in other words, one of these 3-man militias that I'm capable of doing is talking and preparing people. Now, if I came into your area, I would look and hopefully find somebody that is as capable, preferably a whole lot more capable than I am, of talking to your local leaders. I say you should have already talked to your sheriff. So in other words, when I come in, you can introduce me to your local sheriff. Your local sheriff already knows you're part of a militia, the local militia. Now, after you introduce me to your local sheriff, then I will let him know my capabilities. And I can sit down with him and we can figure out what it is exactly we need to get done and how much we as a militia are capable of doing. And I'll tell you, a good sheriff would welcome all the help he can get, and especially militia help, especially the 3-man militia help. The way we have this set up, it is based on first the morally correct thing to do. That's the first thing. We run on our morals. Our morals are backed up by our beliefs, whatever your beliefs are, and they're backed up by the Constitution. So, if your sheriff is like he should be, he got his power from the Constitution. I really don't care about his morals. Well, I do. But he has a constitutional duty. We have a moral duty to back up our Constitution. I would hope your sheriff would be like-minded. Okay. Now, me and your local militias, me as an outside militia coming in to help, I am under your control. It is your community. You know what's going on. You are the one that's going to provide the leadership for us. I will back you up on it. providing you stay morally focused. When I first came up with the three-man militia idea and how it worked, I understood, and it is one of these things where I don't want to hear you bitch and complain, because there's things you can do. Now, once you do all this stuff, then if you want to bitch and complain, you can bitch and complain, but you have something to stand by. You're showing you have morals. You're showing you have the strength to stand by your morals. That's why you've come up with this three-man militia, even if it's in gardening. Why? Because we are helping our families, our friends, and our local community. When you have that attitude, I know I will stand with you. And people with good attitudes will stand with you. And those are the people that you want to be standing next to. I didn't really develop the concept of three-man militia as to going to another area. And the reason is we don't have the logistics to make it happen. In other words, I can't bring all of my guns, all of my ammunition, food, shelter. I can't bring all this stuff with me. Now, I am an exception to many rules, and this is one of these rules, is I'm coming from out of the country. I may have had to hitchhike to get to you. So in other words, what I am bringing to you is manpower at the minimum. I am bringing you me, my physical me, my abilities and strengths. So the minimum, that's what you're going to have. If you happen to be in the next county from me, I would bring a whole lot more. It's going to be a whole lot more than just me. But the point I'm trying to make is we're going to have to work together on this. And if you already know and understand the concept of the three-man militia, and you've put it in practice, when it is, and you've put it in practice, my three-man militia, even though it is outside of your area, I'm not part of your family, your friends, your local community, I could still be a valuable asset. If you know and understand the three-man militia concept. If I come with two other people like me, like I say, one of the things I'm into is, like I say, the leadership part. And if I can bring two other leaders with me, and now our leadership, and I do have other leaders that I work with. The cool thing is they're leaders in different fields. My field happens to be in violence, overwhelming violence. And others, leadership might be better for, like I say, organizing, I don't know. Leadership is like everything else. It's got different fields that it's best at. And so, in other words, I could come in, and if you're already organized, even in gardening, I could get them handling firearms and have them in a position to handle massive physical danger in a short time. Because of my organizing and leadership and experience skills, I could do that. So, but you, on your side, need to have the 3-man militias already set up. We can fix them to do what they need to do. But if they're not even set up, we're going to have a bunch of individuals that are going to be limited on what they're going to do because the fear factor is going to weaken them. They won't have the moral backbone to stand behind their beliefs. But there is a way to pull the 3-man militias together and bringing them together not only from your local area, but I'll tell you, when I come into your area and you are not organized, you don't even have an idea how to get organized, I'm gone. I've got no moral responsibility towards a bunch of weak-minded individuals. That is one reason why in Nevada, the Bundy people in Nevada, that's one reason why I didn't get involved in that. When you have a bunch of crazy people running around with guns, you don't need me. Even if they're organized in threes, they know and understand the importance of being organized. I told you, this was based on the Marine Corps combat in Vietnam. We were able to withstand overwhelming odds in life and death, hand-to-hand combat. And it was all based on threes. Like I say, I can only help those that help themselves. If you want my help, if you expect to have people help you, you need to have a plan in place. And during severe crisis, you will need help. But if I see that you're not organized, I'm not going to stay. I wouldn't expect any 3-man militia to stay. Like I say, we are based on morals. And those morals need to have some kind of substantial backing to keep us strong and together. If you haven't figured that out, you're on your own. If you figure that out, or you want to learn this, it's the same thing. Now I'm in Central America, but when I'm in the States, one of the things I do is help people organize. And I help people organize in 3-man militias, and I help them take care of their own. And the reason is, we've got a hell of a mess in the United States, and it's going to take all of us working together to get through this mess. This is Mike, NoStressMike.com.